Okay, looks pretty good. So when I was a monument installer back in the 80s and 90s, I installed many hundreds of flush markers, but most people are not accustomed to them. Yep, 4 inches thick. So I just want to show you, all we need is a couple shovels here. I'm going underneath, not hitting the edge. Let's come up. I'm going to take the second shovel, put it underneath here, and now I can come over here and just roll it right out of the hole. And there you have it. Marble 2x1 flush marker. Okay, so what we're going to do now is open this hole up a little. It's always a good idea not to over dig, take all the loose dirt. We need to open it because I popped it right out. Did not pre-excavate at all, so it'll never go back in. And we won't be able to align it or level it well. Okay, so we'll get the loose dirt out. Pretty good soil here, actually, sandy with a bunch of gravel, like alluvial soil, I'd call it, and pretty easy digging. So now we got to raise this way up. It's about 7 inches deep now. We're trying to get it just about 4 inches. So we're going to use a mix of marble, just like the stone, and then some sand. We could also use crushed stone. We could use granite, all-purpose. Use a lot of different materials. This is what I had handy. These rocks are angular, but they don't pack together well, so the sand will fit in the spaces between them. And I'm gonna do a little blender mix. Okay, gonna just damp it down. That'll make it compact, and it will simulate what'll happen anyway when it's gonna rain and get wet eventually outside. We want to pack it now. We could use a tamper of sorts, but without something with a mechanical with a lot of power behind it, I find that just a spade shovel, some water, and compacting it like this works quite nicely. Okay, looking good. Come back in with the human tamper. This is where high body mass will help your compaction. Okay, flatten it out. Remember, a flush marker goes with the hillside so the mowers can drive right over it. In modern times, that's called a memorial park. If the whole cemetery is all flat stones. And usually they're granite today. But marble's still occasionally used when it's matching existing stone. So I'm going to show you how we can bring this in. It's about 115 pounds, so we're not going to lift it. Maybe a little less with marble. Probably about 100 pounds. Granite's a little heavier. Looks quite nice. I'm going to push it from underneath so we're not chipping anything visible. Looks about the right elevation. We're going to sight the row now, back up, walk down the line a little, going to each side. Looks really good. Just underground, pretty much where we want it because we don't want the mowers to hit it. I think it's just about perfect. So what I'm going to do is Put a little more of the marble around the outside and a little sand on top, and then regrade with the small amount of topsoil I ended up with. On bigger projects, usually I'll use a crushed stone. You can get at a much lower cost if it's in a quantity of dump truck delivery. But a lot of time on smaller projects, just working in bags for the convenience, portability. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, it's bigger than a 2x1. It looks like it's 14 inches wide. I could measure after, but the grass was so far over it. So it's a little of an odd size. Might be like 22 by 14 or something. In modern times, they're almost always the same standard milling. I'll cap it with some of the sand here. Spade shovels tends to work best. I like, gotta be careful on the edge, no damage there. I like a short handle for this type of work. Okay, parked just a few feet too far away, but I'm almost off the road, which is quite handy. Okay. I'll cut it in a little bit. The idea is to make all the sand and gravel disappear. We don't want to see it when we're done. Almost done. Sometime I used to go out on my truck and I'd have about 20 of these on it. Sometime we put foundations under them. Sometimes they already did that for us at the cemetery, but with markers, we sometimes did crushed stone, or we did concrete ahead of time. Came back and set the marker. That was up to the monument company based on the cemetery it was in. Ooh, just about there. Looking pretty good now. Final compaction. I used to carry a little rake, but I kind of streamlined my operation. And I could do almost anything without it. A little fine tuning. One last compaction. Soil packs very nicely. Okay. That's about it. Looks wonderful. Kept walking by this saying, I should reset that. And now the rain will wash it off. It will mud up a little, but when the grass takes, or the weeds come in, we'll take a look. 13 minutes. Okay, well, I didn't bring the tools up here. There it is. See if I'm still parallel. Looks pretty good. Nice piece of marble. There we go. How to reset a flush marker.